Chipioka, a state prosecutor who was allegedly shot dead by police officers on Wednesday morning, has finally been put to rest at Memorial Park in Lusaka. 23 December 2020, Nsama Chipioka met his fate in unfortunate circumstance that everyone till date fails to explain, but questions why the men and women in uniform have continued with the alleged trend of using live ammunition. Back to the morning of the 23rd, the state prosecutor was at a restaurant when a stray bullet, allegedly shot by a Zambia police officer, killed him on the spot. Mr. Chipioka was not shot alone, his body lying on the floor, just like that of Joseph Kaunda, a UPND member who was allegedly killed in a similar fashion.
Why should say this? This is not what we do. Sama wala freelance Sama. Why mona Sama want this? This is not what we do. Sama wala freelance Sama.
The death of these two occurred when riot police officers allegedly started shooting in effort to dispense suspected UPND cadres who had gathered to give their solidarity to their leader, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, who was called for questioning at force headquarters. Today, 26th of December 2020, 4 days after his death, Mr. Chipioka, who has left 4 kids behind, has now been put to rest. As his family members and workmates gathered to pay their last respect, nothing but devastated mood is what was noticed.
And to dust you will return.
Sad but reality, the man lying in that coffin was allegedly shot by the men and women in uniform who have been tasked with a mandate to protect citizens. His colleagues have described him as a friendly man that the world has lost.
The calmness of Nsama in tense situations, of which I would say his involvement in my personal life, his involvement in my academic life, and also in my professional life, really will be remembered. My family has lost one of them. A man who we imagined on Christmas Eve would have come home to spend some time with us is no more today.
And the country's Attorney General had this to say.
Mr. Nsama, the colleague we have just lost today, has always been very instrumental in the justice delivery system. And his determination from the very fact that he rose from being a police officer to study law, and he was now at Ziale, and even as a prosecutor he was quite instrumental in the justice delivery system. So as the Minister of Justice, and indeed myself as Attorney General and leader of the bar, I have to say this death is particularly painful to us, considering also the circumstances under which he died.
Meanwhile,
sad, we remember him as they described him, he was always smiling. But as I've always said, especially us in politics, and especially you young one, for him it was unfortunate, it was a stray bullet, although it's being investigated, that killed him. For the other cadre, he moved from all the way from Kafue to come here. And as politicians, we should remember that this business of using our friends' children to go and be in the forefront, it is wrong. We have seen a lot of young people who have died, and their names have only been used in statistics. Now, since the trend is known by young people and even those who are in politics as young people, challenge us elder people. Me, I've got 7 children. I've got even grandchildren. Challenge me to take my children and my own grandchildren if I think what I'm doing is right.
Miriam Kemba, reporting for Camnet TV News in Lusaka. Help is what these residents of Kaleyi in Chief Mwana Chingwile area in Mazaboka district are seeking from the government after some of their houses in the early morning of today collapsed due to heavy rains experienced in the area. The residents disclosed that the rains, which started around 04 hours and ended close to 7 hours, has left families homeless. They disclosed the calamity to Camnet TV.
Mabhuku abana wonse akanyikila mumenda yose chakudya chanyikila fabula aja kuchita amutugwa heno vantu no ama president amutuhide ruse ndiri mumenda nganda yonse ipite mumenda yakawachiro ndabula akwa kuchita
kale nibo ayaba ne baba toli kulomba kuti bakansera bahombane kulibonya ba DC balibonye kugwahiri yandiswe topenga nabo omwe bwema menda byo ayede kukuhigwa kuti azwa ahumbirwa ka dreni kuti azwa ahumbirwa ka dreni abantu balidwa manda ngabajara safe ka mumenda ngatantamu kulomba bo kuti menda azwe ano.
The heavy downfall has left several fields of crops flooded and many household properties destroyed.
Bamwe bamba kuti nkomboni yaserera tabayihi abo bantu tikabazumana kwamboti nkomboni yaserera tabayihi kuti mwekorwa ngunde ibuku serera ngala bambira labakikaji mu yakuti tababere. They are not working.
These residents' hope is for government's quick response to come to their aid.
Here we have a challenge of water due to excessive rain. It started around 04. We are appealing to the government to come up to help these people. As you can see for yourself, they have nowhere to go. Houses have collapsed. So we need the faces of our MP, the area councillor Breveni Yuga. Where are you, sir? We have been calling your line since morning up to now. The last time we saw you here, it was in 2018. Up to date, the area councillor is nowhere to be seen. Coming to the MP, Honorable Gary Nkombo, we know you can work. Yes. It's non-debatable. You can work. Please, sir, come on board. This is the high time we need to show your muscles. Let people know that Gary is working. Yeah. Coming to the president, you are not the only president for Lusaka or Copper Belt. You are the president for entire country. So when you see things like this, it should touch your heart to help people. We voted you to work. We voted you there to help us. So you come on board, sir. Help us. Let us not politicize these things right now. We need help. It does not so they are UPND people. No, they are PF. When the problem comes, it does not choose whether PF or UPND. Problem is a problem. Let us come together. Let us put our head together to help the community.
By broadcast time, effort to get the area councillor on a phone interview proved futile as his phone was unreachable.
Mobile subscriber you have dialed has their phone switched off. Please try again later.
Miriam Kemba, reporting for Camnet TV News in Lusaka.
Thank you very much. You are still watching the Lunchtime Cafe on Camnet TV, and we've just been showing you some forgotten stories that happened some years ago, just to refresh your memories on what used to happen in those particular years. So we are now moving on to the next segment, and this is the interview segment where we do discuss a lot of issues, and today we are discussing the mining sector and mines development in Zambia. and we are privileged to have the Advocate for National Development and Democracy in the studios with us to help us discuss this very interesting topic. Mr. Banda, thank you very much for making it to Camnet TV. Welcome to this interview.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kozi. Good afternoon, and good afternoon to the viewers out there.
Let's start by looking at 2023, since we are getting into 2024. We're coming to the close of 2023. As an organization that advocates for development, what do you make of the country's economic development in the year 2023?
Okay, thank you very much for that very important question. To begin with, I want to appreciate the new Dawn government. Despite of economic challenges the country has continued actually to face, they have been very consistent in terms of making developmental and economic pronouncements. We believe that development is a process, and because it's a process, we are hoping that those pronouncements going forward in 2024 they will be implemented for a purpose of restoring national economic development. For example, we've seen consistency in policy pronunciation in the mining sector. For example, particularly the KCM issue, you know that issue was dragging for a long period of time, and in September government decided to hand over to the legal owners who have Vendetta resources. Last week, Friday, we saw our Republican president signing an agreement with international resources regarding the operation of Mopani mine. We believe this agreement is aimed at improving our economy, restoring our economy. So there's been a consistency in the right direction. The only concern we have is implementation. On the side of implementation, we have not seen much being implemented. I'm focusing much on mining sector because I believe it is our primary sector. It is actually the engine of our economy, as it accounts 80% of our GDP. We've seen investments, investment commitments from these mining sectors. Last month we saw an investment of around $6 billion meant for recapitalization of Shaft 28, a mine in Wansha, of which $1 million USD for dewatering and $5 million USD is for mining development and underground investment. We saw Vendetta Resources committing $1 billion USD for mining capitalization and development, and also $20 million USD for corporate social responsibility, which will address critical sectors like agriculture, health, sports, and education. Equally, Mopan, like I indicated in my preamble, we saw that the government signed an agreement with an investment cover of $1.1 billion USD. These investments are good, and we are looking forward for these investments to be implemented. And this is one of the reasons why we have been advocating that government should hasten these transactions it's making with these investors rather.
Now let's get to the issue of the last press conference that we did have by the Republican president. What did you pick from that? What is your general reaction to that particular press conference before we get deep into the issues of mining?
I will pick on the mining sector. For example, the president said that on the mining sector, they are transacting. There's a transition process that is going on between government and Vendetta Resources, and we are hoping that before the end of this year or early next year, we must be able to see that KSM gets to full production, and that's what the president said. Because we believe that we cannot have economic development without investing in the mining sector. The president also emphasized the issue of hard working. We need to produce more as a country. He emphasized, for example, in the agriculture sector, we can never have sustainable development without hard working, without having serious investments. And we believe that the government cannot do it alone. It requires collective efforts of everyone, every stakeholder, every Zambian, and we must have interest in these developmental processes. So going forward, our emphasis also as an organization that advocates for development, we believe that hard working is a key to enhance development. Hard working is a key to promote national economic growth. Either in the business sector, either in the agriculture sector, we need to embrace hard working. Also, the president touched on the issue of prioritizing decisions. I know the example that he gave, is it concerning the Rolls Royce? Yeah. You would rather invest into a farm than buying a Rolls Royce. Although we understand that it is not really the responsibility of the president to dictate how people should spend their money. But I believe that the president meant that we must have right decisions. We must be able to put our priorities collectively in terms of development. In short, we must be producing a country. It's okay to invest, for example, in agriculture, make profit, and invest into whatever type of a car that you want. After all, we work hard so that we find a type of lifestyle that we want as a citizens. But as a developing country, I want to emphasize that it's important that we put our priorities in terms of investment right. Any developed country in this world, they are investing so much into production. And that is why, as an organization advocating for development, as ANDD, we've always been emphasizing that let's invest more into mining sector, agriculture sector in terms of production. The reason why apparently we are having this challenge of depreciation of our national currency kwacha is because we are producing less as a country, both in production, agriculture and mining sector. I'll give you a practical example. According to statistics, the contribution from the mining sector towards the GDP decreased from 2017 to 2023 from 17% to 13%. And one of the key reasons why the contribution decreased is because of a decrease in mineral production. Because of these operational challenges in the mining sector, more especially on these two strategic mines, KCM and Mopan. So we are happy generally that government has shown commitment to invest into this mining sector, revamp this mining sector. And if these investments will be implemented, trust me, we'll be able to see economic growth in our country, both in terms of trade, commerce, and also growth in our GDP. We'll also be able to see more jobs and business opportunities for Zambians.
Now, on the 5th of September, government, through the Ministry of Mines, Paul Kavuswe, did hand over KCM to Vendata Resources to take over the running. And he did mention in that particular briefing that the transition would take around about 3 months for Vendata to take full control of the mines. As an organization that has been advocating for the revamping of the mining sector, has this transition been finalized, and what is the current status at the moment?
Thank you very much. You've raised a very important question. We've actually been receiving concerns from different stakeholders concerning this same transition process, because everyone is aware that the Minister of Mines, Honorable Poka, also indicated to the public that the transition process will take within a time frame of 3 months. And after that transition process, Vendata Resources will be able to take full control of KCM and begin to implement their corporate strategic investment commitments which they have made towards revamping KCM. Apparently, according to reports, the transition process has not yet been finalized, despite the Minister of Mines indicating to the public, promising the people of Zambia that the transition process will take 3 months. Apparently, the provisional liquidator is still at KCM. What that means is that Vendata Resources has not yet taken full control of KCM, meaning they cannot begin to inject their investment commitments. It's a sad development because KCM is actually in need of urgent recapitalization. Recently, we saw some suppliers, contractors complaining on the copper belt that KCM is actually delaying to clear them off the payments that is owing them because of financial constraints. And the solution is Vendata Resources. So when we are having this delay to finalize the transition process, it means we are also delaying development. We are delaying to clear off payments to these important stakeholders, the suppliers and contractors, who play a very important role in our country in creating employment and also contributing to our national treasure in terms of tax. We have been, we fight to engage the Minister of Mines, and we've been advocating that the government expedites this transition process so that Vendata Resources can take full control of KCM. More especially that 2023, it's been a very, very challenging year, my brother. We have a lack of employment, a lack of business opportunities. The copper belt economy is actually an intensive care unit. There's less economic activities there because these the giant mine, KCM, it hasn't been operating at optimum level because of financial constraints and operational challenges. Hence, our appeal to the Minister of Mines is that in the interest of addressing these economic challenges, revamping KCM, resuscitating KCM, clearing off the payments that KCM is owing to the suppliers and contractors, the minister should expedite this process. And our interest, our position is that we want to see that this transition process is finalized by early January, if at least they cannot finalize the transition process by month end of December, which we are actually in the month end of December. So our appeal, our position is that the Minister of Mines, our Republican President Haka Hinde Hichilema, should ensure that the KCM Vendata transition process is finalized early January, so that Vendata Resources can get on the ground and start investing their commitments, such as the $1 billion, the $20 million for corporate social responsibility, which is very good and which you want to see actually even from these other foreign investors. You see? So going forward, as ANDD, we want to see progress in 2024. It's sad that today the kwacha is depreciating at the faster rate, which is actually directly impacting the cost of basic commodities, which the majority Zambians can't afford. Every day the prices of basic commodities are increasing because of the dollar. Remember, my brother, we are an import-driven country, meaning most of the goods and services that we have in our country are imported. And when the kwacha is depreciating, meaning the cost of importing also goes high, which affects the prices of these basic commodities, and which also increases the cost of doing business. So what that means is that we are killing small businesses. We are shrinking our domestic economy, we are killing employment, and we are killing actually our own economy. And we are increasing poverty, unfortunately, in our country, which shouldn't be the case when we have these strategic minds which we can use to bring development in our country. When actually we have an investor like Vendetta Resources who is ready to recapitalize KCM, improve the working conditions, and clear off the debts that KCM is owing to the suppliers and contractors.
Now, as you have noticed, suppliers and contractors have been complaining on the copper belt as regards them being paid by Vendetta. They're saying no, Vendetta is delaying to clear them their monies. What do you make of this situation?
So let me make it clear. Let me put it on record that Vendetta Resources has not yet taken full control of KCM. The provisional liquidator, Selinea, is still there as a provisional liquidator for KCM. Meaning that Vendetta Resources cannot do anything. They cannot implement their investment commitments. By law and the good corporate governance procedure, Vendetta Resources will only start clearing off the payments to the suppliers and contractors after the transition process, when the provisional liquidator is withdrawn from KCM. Like I indicate, which we are hoping and which we actually want that by early January, the provisional liquidator must be withdrawn to allow Vendetta Resources start implementing their investment commitment. As it stands now, we are aware that even the scheme of arrangement, it has not yet been submitted in the Zambian court. The scheme of arrangement is a document which outlines how the investor plans to clear off the payments to these suppliers and contractors. But as we are talking now, we are aware that it has not yet been submitted. So Vendetta Resources can't do anything in that regard. Vendetta Resources is actually following the law. And by law and by good corporate governance procedure, we will only start clearing off the payments to the suppliers and contractors. Hence, my appeal to the contractors and suppliers that let's remain patient. We must exercise some bit of some patience. And we are also calling upon the government, our Republican President, President Haka Indechilema, to expedite this process so that all the interests of these stakeholders, the suppliers and contractors, can be addressed. And we know they will only be addressed when Vendetta Resources takes full control of KCM. This is one of the key reasons why, my brother, we have been advocating that government, because we've seen the cries of these suppliers and contractors. Even we've actually have reports. Recently we saw in media where some contractors actually they have stopped working at KCM there, which is affected their employees. Their employees, as a result, they are not getting paid. We saw some wives of some employees who are working for some contractors crying on the media. It's a very sad development. It's not a good development for our country when we actually have an investor who is ready to start operating. What we need to do, what the government needs to do now is to expedite this project. Let them fast track the transition process so that Vendetta Resources can take full control of KCM. I'm happy early November they signed the implementation agreement and shareholder agreement, which is actually a key aspect to the transition process. And what is remaining now is just government to initiate the legal process by submitting the scheme of arrangement. And the person who's supposed to do that, according to my understanding, is the provisional liquidator. Hence, my brother, for the sake of these stakeholders, for the sake of national development, our country, our appeal to our Republican President, to the Minister of Mines, is to ensure that they must do the due diligence and ensure that this transition process is finalized by early January. We want to see serious progress in 2024. We want to see serious investment in 2024. More importantly, we want to see implementation of these investment commitments. I'm happy 2023 government has made a lot of commitments with different several investors regarding investment in the mining sector, agriculture sector, and other sectors. But what is important is implementation. You can have all these commitments, but without implementation, we cannot have development.
Having explained that, and I know that you have mentioned that you would love to see Vendetta take over by January. Do you see this happening? Is there possibilities that Vendetta could could take full control by January?
It is possible. It is 100% possible. Mm-hmm. And they will take the commitment of the government. I understand that President Hakainde Hichilema is very much committed to revamp the mining sector. We have seen him demonstrating commitment to revamp the mining sector, to resuscitate KCM. But what is important now, it is his people, the Minister of Mines, the Minister of Finance, to ensure that they fast track, they expedite the transition process. We believe that the president doesn't work alone. It is one thing for a president to give instruction. It is one thing for his people to ensure that they implement the policy direction effectively, efficiently, on time. And this is why we are saying that the Minister of Mines, the Minister of Finance, all the stakeholders involved in this transition process, the CCMIH, the provisional liquidator, should do the due diligence and submit the scheme of arrangement in the Zambian court. It is her who's supposed to do that, by the way. So she must ensure that she does the due diligence and ensure that she submits the scheme of arrangement in the Zambian court. Mm-hmm. And it will take commitment. And this commitment should come with the interest and passion to develop our country. Mm-hmm. We cannot continue moving on this same trajectory. We have to change our trajectory, moving into a trajectory of growth, trajectory of progress, trajectory of seriousness. This is what we want. And it will take the commitment of these stakeholders involved. And we are calling upon them to ensure that they do the right thing, expedite the process so that Vendetta Resources can take full control of KCM. We want to see that energy. 2024 must be a very good economic game changer for the benefit of Zambians, for the benefit of everyone. We want to see jobs created. The President Hakainde Hichilema, he's shown commitment that he wants to see. He's made several pronouncements that he wants to see jobs created for the youths, business opportunities created for the youths. And those opportunities will only come when government, the Minister of Mines, expedites the processes of these transactions or legal transactions, to put it that way.
What are your expectations from Vendetta Resources when they fully take control of KCM?
Now, you and me, we know that Vendetta Resources has committed over $1 billion for mining recapitalization and development. We know that Vendetta Resources has committed to increase salary increment for the workers to a tune of 20%. Mm-hmm. We know, and the Zambian people know, that Vendetta Resources has committed $20 million for corporate social responsibility, which will address programs or key sectors like health, agriculture, and education. And we are happy to note that so far we have observed Vendetta Resources, despite not taking full the operation of KSM, they've started implementing some of the corporate social responsibility programs. Recently, they supported some women who are into sports, the Tennessee club or sports, something like that. Yeah, we have seen them distributing some pads there in Nampundwe. Yeah, sanitary pads. Yeah, so that is commitment towards sports development. Now, my question is, if they take full control of KCM, meaning we must be able to expect more development in that regard, we are expecting Vendetta Resources to implement their investment commitments. And our appeal to Vendetta Resources that don't disappoint the Zambian people. We have put trust in you to develop a KCM, create employment and business opportunities, and our call to Vendetta Resources is that you must prioritize rather to give business opportunities to Zambians, Zambian suppliers and contractors. We know that these play a very important role in contributing to national development in terms of creating employment and contributing to our national treasury. Mm-hmm. And this is one of the key ways that we can expeditiously develop our country once we start giving business opportunities to the local suppliers and contractors. We'll be able to grow our domestic economy and inject liquidity in our economy. We'll be able actually to promote trade and commerce. Unless in an event that these suppliers and contractors don't have capacity to deliver certain services to a mining firm, then Vendetta Resources can outsource the supplier or contractor from foreign entities. But our position is that not only Vendetta Resources, but equally other mining investors like Mopani and other investors, they should ensure that they give business opportunities strictly to Zambians, local suppliers and contractors. By doing so, we will develop our country, and we also will be able to see our kwacha appreciating at a faster rate. We'll be able to create employment for our fellow Zambians.
Now, on the 22nd of December, government did sign a deal with an investment cover of about 1.1 billion United States dollars with International Resources Holding as an equity partner to run Mopani mines. What's your take on this particular deal?
Comrade, we welcome that signing agreement that government made with International Resources regarding the operations of Mopani mine. We welcome that agreement. It's progressive, and we believe that International Resources are coming as an equity partner to operate Mopani mine. They'll be able to create more employment opportunities for our people, more especially on the copper belt. As you may be aware, copper belt economy is intensive care unit. There are no economic activities because Mopani and KCM, they have not been operating at optimum level due to operational challenges and financial constraints. Hence, with the coming of International Resources on board, we should be able to expect Mopani mine being resuscitated. And our appeal to government is that they should strictly give this investor terms and conditions that will meet the interests of Zambians and government itself. Yeah. For example, Mopani should ensure that they give business opportunities strictly to local suppliers and contractors, unless in an event that they don't have capacity to deliver certain products or services. Yeah, by doing so, like I indicated, we'll be able to promote our domestic economy, grow our domestic economy, create more employment. It will actually have a positive multiplication effect on our economy.
You are watching the Lunchtime Cafe on Camnet TV, and we are discussing issues to do with the mining development in the country, and we do have the Executive Director who is here to discuss with us various issues in that particular regard. But now we take a short break, and when we come back, we'll continue with the program.
What if I never knew? What if I never found you? I never have this feeling in my heart.
Are you planning to marry or get married? Contact the Camnet Media team for a professional capturing of your big day in life. Let your relatives, friends, and the nation join you in celebrating your big day on television. Just at a manageable fee, Camnet Television will cover and transmit your wedding on your channel of choice. Contact the marketing department on mobile number. Camnet Television, not just another channel.
I give my love to having home.
Water is life. Each drop counts, and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. Renglow, your smart irrigation partner.
Get all the latest updates in court news only on Camnet TV. We take you and make you feel part of the court sessions through our in-depth coverage of the adjudication process. Get informed on those who have been arrested, delayed and denied the police bond or bail victims, persons taking plea, court adjournments, verdicts, and those administration issues in the judiciary. Camnet TV is on channel 274 on DSTV, channel 25 on GoTV, and find us on channel 106 on Topstar. You can also follow and give us a like on our social media platforms. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Join me, Amazing Katamanda, on the weekly gospel show for those exciting and interesting interviews with your favorite gospel Hold on to me when it's too dark to see. You cannot put your power back to war. Hallelujah. And this time around, we are bringing to you entertainment news and the countdown, as you guys are able to nominate your top 3 favorite music videos of the week. Remember, it's every Saturday at 10:45. You can also catch repeats every Monday at 10 hours. Camnet TV is not just another time.
Thank you very much. You are still watching the Lunchtime Cafe on Camnet TV, and as we did state earlier on, we are discussing issues to do with the mining sector, and we do have Mr. Samuel Banda who is the executive director. And now we have been joined by Zupid President, Mr. Ronnie Jere, of course, to discuss the same issues to do with the mining sector in the country. So we are continuing with this very important discussion. And before we went for the break, we were talking issues of KCM and, of course, vendetta taking over KCM, and government committing to say that the process of transition would take around about 3 months, and then KCM will take full control of, vendetta will take full control of KCM. And Mr. Banda was just explaining to us how he feels things are going to change and how he thinks things are going to be when Vendetta takes full control of the operations at KCM. That is what we were discussing. If you are just joining us, you have not missed a lot, and he is hopeful, Mr. Banda, to say we will see Vendetta take over the operations at KCM by January. That is his hope, and we are hoping that surely that happens. And he has called on government through the Minister of Mines, Honorable Paul Kaboswe, to expedite the process of the transition to see that Vendetta fully takes over KCM, the operations and running of KCM. But as I did indicate earlier, we have now been joined by Mr. Jere, who is also here to help us discuss this very important topic. Mr. Jere, thank you very much for joining us on the program. Welcome to Camnet.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be back here after a very long time.
Now, before you came in, we were discussing issues to do with KCM and government handing over KCM to Vendetta, and of course we did also touch on the issue of the economic growth, or generally the economy of the country in the year 2023. What would be your take on these two issues? General economy of the country and the takeover, the handing over of KCM to Vendetta.
Thank you very much. I think it's every Jim and Jack knows that we have not performed well as a country. Indicators can show we are seeing our local currency not doing well. We are seeing an increase in the cost of doing business. We are seeing an increase in the prices of basic commodities such as mealie meal and cooking oil and other basic commodities that Zambians should be able to buy at a reasonable price. And so people are complaining, but I think going forward, I think as we're coming to the end of the year, we saw in September 5th, I know you've spoken about this, the government having signed, the agreement that we've been waiting for between the Zambian government and, Vedanta, for Vedanta to take over KCM. But we've also seen government, quickly finalizing the partnership between, the government and Mopani Copper Mine. We have an investor that has been identified, and they're pumping in over 1.1 billion. So for us, that is also light at the end of the tunnel. Now we also hear that in Wansha, there's also a Chinese investor that is going to pump in 500 million US dollar. And right now, I think they are in the process of dewatering the, I don't know, shaft 28 or shaft 48, I don't know, 28, yeah. So we see light at the end of the tunnel, even if we had, challenges in 2023, but we hope that 2024 will be better. I know Mr. Banda has already explained some of the benefits that we hope to see when these mines begin to run optimally.
for example, if KCM, Vedanta takes over KCM in January, you know, we are hopeful that the contractors and suppliers will be paid their dues. We have seen on news, Camnet and other mainstream medias have aired some stories where grievances of our contractors and suppliers haven't been paid for quite a long time. We've also seen some of the workers downing their tools because KCM has not been able to pay workers their monies. And so the coming in of Vedanta is a breather to all this, because those are Zambians, mind you. Contractors, suppliers are Zambians, and the workers are Zambians. So if, for example, Vedanta pumps in 250 million to give the workers, sorry, to give the suppliers and contractors their dues, that money will benefit the Zambians, and you will see improvement in the way Zambians will live in the Copper Belt, and it also extends to some of us that are far from the Copper Belt.
There also has been concerns or complaints from local suppliers and contractors that these mining firms usually give these contracts to foreign suppliers. This may not work as you are putting it. What do you make of this?
Yeah, those complaints are valid, and we have also said that, but that is our role as civil society organizations. Other than just pushing government to make sure that you know, they do the right thing in making sure that these mines function optimally, but we also want to see government giving priority number one to local to Zambians as a local supplier, to local suppliers to be supplying these mines, because if they give foreigners, then it defeats the whole purpose of having you know, advocating for these mines to be you know, opened, because our push is to make sure that Zambians, the locals, benefit primarily. Then probably if there are other issues that you know, for example, they want Zambians cannot supply certain things, then you can give to foreigners, but priority should be given to Zambians, and that we will not compromise on that as civil society organizations.
Mr. Banda, what should be done in order to ensure that these contracts are given to local contractors and
restricted to local contractors and suppliers? First of all, I want to emphasize that local suppliers, contractors, local SMEs are the ones who drive our economy. They play a very important role, not only in terms of creating employment, but also in contributing in terms of tax, contributing to national treasury. So in that regard, government should ensure come up with a deliberate policy, the same way they've come up with a mineral regulation commission. Perhaps under the same umbrella of mineral regulation commission, government should come up with a strategy, a clear policy direction to compel these foreign investors, to ensure that they give business opportunities strictly to Zambians and only Zambians. Zambian suppliers and contractors, unless in an event that they don't have the capacity to deliver certain products and services. And not only that, even when they don't have the capacity, I think there must be a deliberate policy to engage a local supplier and allow that local supplier engage an international or foreign supplier and come up with a corporate agreement that will benefit both the local supplier and the international or foreign supplier. And that way we'll be injecting liquidity in our economy, which is essential in promoting commerce and trade and promoting national economic growth. We will ensure that will have a post-multiplication effect, Camnet. Because if a local supplier, for example, benefits under that corporate agreement with the foreign supplier. What will happen is that when liquidity remains in a country, it means you are promoting trade and commerce. That marketeer in the copper belt communities who will benefit when the supplier pays the employees. That employee will go to market, agulako tomato, agulako onion, drama ya sala to that marketeer. That marketeer na yapanga ka profit. Akapanga ka profit, she uses that ka profit to empower her children or to empower the student. It means we are promoting, we are growing our own domestic economy.
Moving forward, the kwacha has been depreciating at a fast rate, thereby impacting negatively the economy of the country, impacting on the cost of doing business, impacting on the cost of living, and many other sectors of the economy. What should government do to address this particular problem?
Let's look at first the root cause, why the kwacha has been depreciating at a faster rate. And just to add on why ZRA failed to achieve their target in 2023 in terms of tax collection. One of the key reasons, primary reasons, is because as a country we have not been producing more mineral production. As a result, we've been exporting less copper. And what that means, when we're having less copper export volumes, it means that we're having less forex. As a result, this is the reason why we are seeing the kwacha depreciating at a faster rate. Now, like I indicated, that Zambia is an import-driven country, meaning most of the goods and services that we have as a country, we import them from other countries. And when the exchange rate is not stable, one, and is depreciating, it means that the cost of doing business will go high. The cost of basic commodities will go high. And this is, like you indicated, is impacting our economy negatively. Actually, it's shrinking our economy. Because that small business, for example, the car dealers who depend on the value of kwacha in terms of ensuring that they have low cost of doing business, it means they will fail to do their business. It means we are killing their business. It means we are also killing employment. We are killing trade. So what should the government do? One, let's address operational challenges in the mining sector. One, a practical example is the KCM issue. I'm happy that government is almost there. They are almost concluding the transition process. But we want to see this transition process being finalized. If they cannot be finalized this month of December 2023, our appeal to the Minister of Mines that in the interest of restoring national economic development, resuscitating KCM, create employment and business opportunity for Zambians, and ensure that we achieve the 3 million metric tons copper production target per annum by 2031, by early January, they must finalize the KCM Vendata transition process to allow Vendata resources to take full control of KCM. Apart from that, they should also invest in the agriculture sector, reduce the cost of producing agriculture produce so that we have more production, we increase production in the agriculture sector. Equally, it means we have more agriculture produce to export as a minimum, more forex. We will strengthen our national currency kwacha. We will create employment for our people. We will empower our people, and we shall reduce the poverty levels in our country. And also our GDP will go up.
Mr. Jerry, you did talk about, in your early submission, you did talk about the injection of a colossal sum in Shaft 28 in Luansha, and also if KCM is fully operational and Mopani is fully operational, how is this going to help resuscitate the economy of the country if all these mines are operating at optimal level?
Yeah, so like my colleague has mentioned, what it is the reason why our kwacha is depreciating, it means that the interpretation is that we may not even have foreign exchange, especially US dollar, in our economy, circulating in our economy. And you see, we are an import-driven country, meaning that we depend on using our foreign exchange to import products into this country. So what is happening now is that if these 3 mines are fully operational, there will be an injection of foreign exchange, US dollar, into our economy, meaning that the kwacha that is on free fall, for example, that is not seen to be doing well, will stabilize, because we'll have some form of a balance. We can import, we can also export, because these mines will be able to help us, as they produce copper, they produce whichever minerals they will be producing. We will be able to export and then get more foreign exchange. So, meaning that our economy will begin to stabilize. The kwacha will stabilize, and then all indicators, all factors of the economy will somewhat stabilize. We also see that, like I mentioned, because we are an import-driven country, we'll have enough foreign exchange to import whatever we want to import for development. We want to build roads. It's easy for us to, if we don't have, for example, bitumen here in Zambia, we can import bitumen from somewhere without necessarily stressing our foreign reserves. Import anything that we want to import to develop our roads, to develop our industry, manufacturing industry, etc., etc. Machinery that will come into Zambia will not be able to stress our economy, and our kwacha will continuously improve. If it has value, then the people, the common man will also benefit. Those that are dealing in vehicles, for example, they will be able to import vehicles at a lower rate, or a lower rate, because they won't be thinking of this time. It's even very difficult to even price something that you are importing, because anytime the US dollar might gain, and then our kwacha might depreciate, and then you find that you've imported something today, tomorrow you hear that before you can even clear it, you find that the US dollar has again appreciated, our kwacha has depreciated, and the like. So in terms of doing business, it's very difficult, because the market forces are not predictable. So if you have predictable market forces, you have a stable economy.
Mr. Banda, as we draw near to the close of this particular program, what are your expectations in 2024 as regards development in the mining sector and its contribution to the growth of the national economy?
Thank you very much, my brother, for that critical question, bordering on national development. Like I indicated in my preamble, that we want to see serious progress in the mining sector, because we believe that mining is an engine. It is a cornerstone of our economic national development. Everything in this country, all the economic fundamentals in this country, they are hinged on the mining sector. If the mining sector performs well, we expect also other sectors to perform well. If the mining sector flourishes, we expect to have more revenues to fund other sectors like agriculture, health, and so on. In that regard, we want government to ensure that they implement the investment commitments, and they should ensure that local miners or artisanal miners are empowered with mining equipments. It's high time that we start empowering our local miners, artisanal miners, with mining equipment, because that has been the challenge. By doing so, we optimize our benefits from the mining sector, from our own people. They should also ensure that they give tax incentives to these artisanal miners. Government should use, for example, Economic Empowerment Commission to give these artisanal miners loans in form of equipment. By doing that, we are giving them capacity to increase production. Remember, the government set a very, very ambitious target of achieving the 3 million metric tons overproduction target per annum by 2031. And that can only be achieved when our local miners also empowered. The other issue, these two strategic mines, our giant mines. These Mopani and KSM, they have the potential to contribute. For example, KSM has the potential to contribute 500,000 metric tons copper production towards the 3 million target. And to only do that when it gets to full production. In that regard, we are appealing once again to the Minister of Mines to ensure that they expedite the transition process so that by early January, we want to see KCM starts operating at optimum level. That is our appeal, and that is our expectation. Implementation.
Mr. Jerry, what are your expectations of 2024 in the mining sector?
2024, my expectation is that whatever has started should not stop. Our fear is that sometimes government becomes too slow in sorting out certain things, and we hope that this issue of KCM, the data, will be a thing of the past by January. You know, when you give the Zambian people a timeline to say within 3 months we would have already resolved these issues. Please work within that timeline, and that is our hope. So if these mines are fully functional, we will see our kwacha stabilize. We will see stabilized costs of doing business. We will see the prices of goods and services stabilized. Right now, we don't know how much minimum is today, because yesterday it was 3 something, tomorrow it will be something else. And we want to see a stabilized economy. So, during 2024, like my colleague has mentioned, we want to see a thriving mining sector. We are happy with what government is doing currently. Over the past quarter of this year, I think they've done a very good job in signing off, memorandum of understanding with investors, etc., etc. But what we want to see is now the fruition of those MOUs into action. So, like my colleague has said, implementation. What we want to see is results. We are happy with what is happening, but we want to see results so that the Zambian people can benefit from that.
I know that our time is up, but I think that we cannot leave without talking about this issue. A quick reaction. We have continued losing lives at Senseri. Yesterday, 49-year-old miner again died at that particular time. Your quick response.
My colleague has just mentioned that government should be quick at making sure that we empower our local artisanal miners. We have potential of becoming a hub of local miners having owning mines. But I think government is not doing enough to empower our local miners. It makes me feel bad to see how we are selling our mines to foreigners. News is all over seeing how we exchange money is exchanging with foreigners. But what we want to see is, why can't we empower our very own to begin to mine in a more safer way? So we ask government to quickly, first of all, close that mine because people have been lost. There were just a few, was it last month, we had that disaster where over 30 people died, and up to now, only a few have been, is it 15 or less, that have been retrieved. And that's a disaster. 30 Zambians, able-bodied Zambians dying because of an accident that could have been prevented is a disaster. So we want government to move in, close that mine, and then see how they can be able to, make that mine safer for our own miners to be able to mine safely. So that is one of the issues that we want to see. So government, please, if you can hear us, please close that mine, because we don't want to lose more people. One life being lost affects a lot, because that person probably might have been a breadwinner. We will have street kids because that person was bringing food at home. 49 years old is probably a parent, even a grandparent these days. So we don't want to see people dying when, it's easy for us to, control or make, put up control measures that could help save lives. So government should heed to our cause of making sure that we begin to empower our local miners with equipment and also safety courses. These people just come from home, they don't know how to safeguard themselves. So training, building their capacity, making sure that even as they are mining, they're taking care of themselves is very important. Thank you.
Mr. Banda, a quick reaction to the death of the 49-year-old.
It's a very sad development, my brother, that we are losing people because of lack of safety measures, if I can put it that way. Like our Comrade Jerry indicated, that we need to invest into safety measures. More important, it's high time that we start training our people on how to do safe mining, modern ways of mining. In the 21st century, we can't be losing people because of lack of safety measures. That's why I indicated that it's high time we start investing into our own artisanal miners by giving them mining equipment so that they can explore minerals without compromising their lives, without losing lives. And the number one important fundamental is that we must invest into safe mining practices. We must invest into human resource, train our people on how to do proper mining. And our call now is that actually our call to our Republican President Haka Hinde Ichilema, that close immediately that Senseli mine for now. And when you close that Senseli mine, government should do a comprehensive audit to find out or to ascertain why our people, one, are engaging into illegal mining. Perhaps it's because KSM Mopan, they're not operating. So these people, they need employment. So let's create employment. And those who want to invest into sincerely mine, those who want to mine, let's ensure that we invest into proper mining practices, invest into safety measures like I indicated. Thank you.
Mr. Banda and Mr. Jerry, we would like to thank you very much for making an appearance on the Lunchtime Cafe.
Thank you very much.
We have been talking to Mr. Ronnie Jerry, Zupid President, and of course Mr. Samuel Banda, who is and Executive Director, and we were discussing issues to do with the mining sector in the country and mining development. And on that note, we come to the end of today's program. Don't forget to join us again tomorrow at the same time. On behalf of the entire production team, have a blessed afternoon.